This cruise ship's peaceful afternoon turns into a fight for survival when hurricane-force winds turn patio furniture into deadly missiles. But that's just our ultimate entry. Before we get there, we'll watch as a shark attacks a diver in Rhodes, an EF3 tornado destroys cars in Missouri, and flash floods obliterate an Indian village, plus a secret entry you will never forget. Starting at number 6 with an underwater predator that doesn't take no for an answer. November 2018, Rhodes Island, Greece. A group of scuba divers explore the depth of the water. They're surrounded by colorful fish, crystal clear water, and the serenity that only the ocean can provide. Then, a longimanus shark appears in the blue. At first, it seems curious, harmless, like it's just another magnificent creature passing through. But then it starts to circle. One diver becomes the focus as the shark's body language shifts from curious to predatory. Without warning, it attacks. The diver fights back as the shark closes in, jaws open. Another diver rushes in, startling the predator away just in time. The shark retreats. The divers, hearts pounding, know they've just survived an encounter most people only see in nightmares. But the truth is, in the ocean, you're never truly safe. You're just a visitor in someone else's hunting ground. But if you think underwater predators are terrifying, wait until you see what happens when solid ground decides it's not so solid anymore. The top and west coast of New Zealand's South Island had been drowning under relentless rain for a week. The roads were cut off, submerged, buried under mud and fallen trees. Gary Fields was filming in Marybank, just outside Nelson, when he captured something truly terrifying. Watch with me. At first, small chunks of earth break off into the water below. Nothing too alarming. Then, things change. The land doesn't just break, it shifts. Massive sections of earth that have stood for centuries suddenly shatter. Trees collapse in seconds. The ground literally moves, shifts, and falls into the water. What was solid earth becomes an avalanche of soil, rock, and vegetation. The footage shows nature's most bitter truth. Even the ground beneath your feet isn't guaranteed to stay there. Nature just hit Control-Z on that entire hillside. But while New Zealand's land is falling apart, Algeria's water has other plans for destruction. It starts like any other morning in Algeria, but this time the river is done waiting. It breaches its banks. One moment, the streets are quiet. The next, water spills over and begins to reclaim everything. It moves fast, too fast. Bystanders leap into action, sprinting away from the onrushing wall of water. Others scramble to rescue bikes, cars, whatever they can grab. Time isn't on their side. A driver reaches his vehicle, only to find the water already at the windows. Yet somehow, he escapes. Nearby, a man races for his motorcycle. Others join. Together, they pull it back just in time. Meanwhile, the car squeals away from the flood's claws. In minutes, the calm roads vanish. What remains is a muddy, swirling sea. The flood takes everything: vehicles, valuables, livelihoods. It doesn't discriminate. Guess that waterfront property pitch wasn't exactly what the real estate agents had in mind. But if you think rushing water is nature's ultimate destroyer, wait until you see what 200-mile-per-hour winds can do to steel and glass. 2025, St. Louis, Missouri. A destructive EF3 tornado tears through the city with winds exceeding 165 miles per hour, and someone's camera captures every terrifying second. It starts with heavy wind that rips the bonnet clean off a parked car. Debris fills the air, metal, wood, glass, all becoming deadly weapons in the tornado's grip. You can see a massive tree shaking to its roots as it struggles against the wind. The car is systematically destroyed, hood gone, windshield shattered, windows exploding from pressure changes. The tornado shoves other vehicles, creating a chain reaction of destruction. Then comes the rain, not gentle drops, but furious torrents of water. EF3 tornadoes don't just damage property, they erase the illusion that our buildings and vehicles offer any real protection against nature's fury. Insurance adjusters probably take one look at this footage and just write act of God on every claim. But tornadoes eventually pass. What comes next on our list kept unleashing destruction on a village for days. And if you think that's devastating, stick around for our secret entry, where we capture something so rare and powerful that it only happens a few times per year. This is Darali village in Uttarkashi district, northern India, nestled deep in the Himalayas. This village has wrestled with storms and floods for generations. During India's June to September monsoon season, cloudbursts are common. They're sudden, intense downpours that usually last a few minutes. They flood the streets and then pass as quickly as they come. But this time was different. This cloudburst didn't just drench the land, it ripped it apart. It struck with brutal force, unleashing a massive mudslide in the Kirgat area near Harsil. Within moments, a wall of debris, boulders, and roaring water rushed down the mountainside, destroying everything in its path. You can see people running before being engulfed by these dark waves of debris. Entire multi-story buildings are uprooted like weeds. Houses disappear in seconds. A wide swath of the village is swamped by debris. In places, the mud laps at the rooftops of what used to be homes. Families, businesses, entire lives buried. At least 4 people were killed. More than 50 were declared missing. The Indian Army had to be deployed for rescue operations. Looks like even the mountains decided they'd had enough of holding things together. But now it's time for something you won't see in any ordinary disaster compilation. This is our secret entry, and it's not just another disaster. It's one of Earth's most powerful and persistent forces caught in real time. Volcán de Fuego in Guatemala, also known as Volcano of Fire, has been erupting continuously since the Spanish conquest in 1524, making it one of the most active volcanoes in Central America. Fuego erupts every 15 to 20 minutes, not once a year, not once a month, every 15 to 20 minutes. This mountain reminds the world it's alive. Watch as lava flows descend its flanks, creating rivers of molten rock. At night, the volcano glows. This site attracts thousands of tourists and volcanologists each year, despite the obvious danger. But of course, humans being humans, we see a mountain that literally explodes every 20 minutes and think, perfect vacation spot. Interestingly, while Fuego's eruptions are dangerous and have claimed lives, they also create the rich, fertile soil that supports local agriculture. Destruction and creation happening simultaneously. Nature is terrifying and beautiful. Let's not forget that. But if you thought volcanic eruptions were nature's ultimate display of power, our #1 entry proves that sometimes the ocean and atmosphere can combine forces for something even more terrifying.
I just said, are you okay?
Alpha.
Oh no, somebody's hurt.
Deck 12, have gas elevators.
Yep.
Alpha.
Yep.
Deck 12, have gas elevators.
Yep.
What you just heard wasn't a drill. That call, Alpha, 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 Deck 12, is the crew's emergency code. It means something on this ship has gone very, very wrong. But let's go back a bit. How did all this chaos start? It starts as every crew's passenger's dream. Sunny skies, gentle ocean breeze, relaxation on the deck with not a cloud in sight. Then, everything changes in minutes. It starts with just a light rainfall with people laughing, rushing to take cover, thinking it'll pass. But the wind makes a grand announcement. Chairs start flying around and umbrellas follow right after. What was a gentle breeze transforms into angry hurricane-force winds. Patio furniture slides across the deck, umbrellas rip from their fixtures, moving through the air at deadly speeds. Debris flies everywhere. You can tell this wind came prepared, as some passengers can barely stand upright. Passengers scramble for interior spaces, running, crawling, holding onto railings for dear life. Mothers hold their children, and people help each other. Those who were inside safe screamed as others tried to make their way to safety. The weather really does have insane mood swings, from cheerful to chaotic in seconds. You probably haven't seen umbrellas and decks being used as weapons until now. One minute you're flexing, the next you're fighting for your life in swimwear. When the winds finally die down, everywhere looks damaged and destroyed. truly a sore sight to behold. What was supposed to be a luxury vacation becomes a survival story passengers will never forget. The ocean doesn't care about your vacation plans. When it decides to show its power, all you can do is hold on and hope the ship's engineers knew what they were doing. And believe it or not, next time we're going even deeper into nature's most violent moments. A massive earthquake shakes Taiwan as a gym collapses mid-shake, trapping 4 inside. In another clip, rocks and smoke rain down inside a narrow mountain road as a car barely escapes. And just when you think it can't get worse, we witness Typhoon Hailong in action, one of the most powerful storms ever recorded, with sustained winds of 180 miles per hour that turn cities into apocalyptic wastelands. Hit subscribe before the next disaster strikes, because nature's not done showing us who's really in charge. I'll bring the footage, you bring the snacks. Deal?